Why this story matters. This is one of those stories that quietly proves progress doesn't always come with loud headlines. Quick summary: this story highlights recent developments related to researchers, showing how constructive action can lead to meaningful results. When it comes to national politics, Americans are fiercely divided across a range of issues, including gun control, elections, security, and vaccines. It's not new for Republicans and Democrats to be at odds over issues, but things have reached a point where even the idea of compromising appears to be anathema, making it more difficult to solve thorny problems. But things are much less heated at the local level. A survey of more than 1,400 local officials by the Carnegie Corporation and Civic Pulse found that local governments are largely insulated from the harshest effects of polarization. Communities with fewer than 15,000 residents proved especially resilient to partisan dysfunction. Would you like to read more good news about researchers, insulated governments, local polarization, and fines? Why this difference? As a political scientist, I believe that lessons from the local level not only open a window onto how polarization works, but also the dynamics and tools that can help reduce it. Local governments deal with concrete issues, sometimes literally, when it comes to paving roads and fixing potholes. In general, cities and counties handle day-to-day functions such as garbage pickup, running schools, and enforcing zoning laws. Addressing tangible needs keeps the local leaders' attention fixed on specific problems that call out for specific solutions, not lengthy ideological debates. By contrast, a lot of national political conflict in the US involves symbolic issues, such as debates about identity and values on topics such as race, abortion, and transgender rights. These battles are often divisive, even more so than purely ideological disagreements, because they can activate tribal differences and prove more resistant to compromise. Such arguments at the national level or on social media can lead to wildly inaccurate stereotypes about people with opposing views. Today's partisans often perceive their opponents as far more extreme than they actually are, or they may stereotype them, imagining that all Republicans are wealthy, evangelical culture warriors, for instance, or conversely, being convinced that all Democrats are radical urban activists. In terms of ideology, the median members of both parties in fact look similar. These kinds of misperceptions can fuel hostility. Local officials, however, live among the human beings they represent, whose complexity defies caricature. Living and interacting in the same communities leads to greater recognition of shared interests and values, according to the Carnegie Civic Pulse survey. Meaningful interaction with others, including partisans of the opposing party, reduces prejudice about them. Local government provides a natural space where identities overlap. People are complicated in national US politics today. Large groups of individuals are divided not only by party, but by a variety of other factors, including race, religion, geography, and social networks. When these differences align with ideology, political disagreement can feel like an existential threat. Such differences are not always as pronounced at the local level. A neighbor who disagrees about property taxes could be the coach of your child's soccer team. Your fellow school board member might share your concerns about curriculum, but vote differently in presidential elections. These cross-cutting connections remind us that political opponents are not a monolithic enemy, but complex individuals. When people discover they have commonalities outside of politics with others holding opposing views, polarization can decrease significantly. Finally, most local elections are technically nonpartisan. Keeping party labels off ballots allows voters to judge candidates as individuals and not merely as Republicans or Democrats. National implications: none of this means local politics are utopian. Like water, polarization tends to run downhill from the national level to local contests, particularly in major cities where candidates for mayor and other office are more likely to run as partisans. Local governments also see culture war debates, notably in the area of public school instruction. Nevertheless, the relative partisan calm of local governance suggests that polarization is not inevitable. It emerges from specific conditions that can be altered. Polarization might be reduced by creating more opportunities for cross-partisan collaboration around concrete problems. Philanthropists and even states might invest in local journalism that covers pragmatic governance rather than partisan conflict. More cities and counties could adopt changes in election law that would de-emphasize party labels where they add little information for voters. Aside from structural changes, individual Americans can strive to recognize that their neighbors are not the cardboard cutouts they might imagine when thinking about the other side. Instead, Americans can recognize that even political opponents are navigating similar landscapes of community, personal challenges, and time constraints, with often similar desires to see their roads paved and their children well educated. The conditions shaping our interactions matter enormously. If conditions change, perhaps less partisan rancor will be the result. This article was written by Lauren Hall from Rochester Institute of Technology and was originally published on The Conversation. Header image by Katie Maum on Unsplash article goodheadlines.org curates positive and solution-focused stories from trusted sources around the world.